non-spoiler section of this. I am going to talk about spoilers, so if you are somebody that does not like the spoiler element, run now or forever hold your peace, because I am going to talk in great detail about a lot of it. And before I move on from this, I do want to say that if you're a 28 fan, of the series, make sure you see it. Okay, it's not so bad in the sense of my rating that it's unwatchable or anything like that or unenjoyable. It's just very slow, and some of the concepts you may or may not relate to. Fair? I think that's fair. So let's get into the spoiler section right now. This is your opportunity to run away, because we're going full blown with this. Okay, so now we're going to talk spoilers, and I'm going to start off again talking about that trailer. That army, or whatever those characters were, military of some sort. They spoke a different language, but then they spoke perfectly good English after they were all killed off, other than the one guy, who I thought was, I think his name was Eric in the movie. I thought that character was useless. I didn't think they needed him. I know that his role connects to another segment in the film. So, yes, the character was needed for a reason, but I feel like that reason wasn't even needed in the film, if that makes any sense. But then, so so just to go back to this, so these military guys who show up near the end of the film, middle to the end of the film, they they're hitting the beach, and then after the beach, they're jumping down a ravine, and they're going into like a cavern or a lock area, like a safe area. I could have swore that maybe, bringing this all together, maybe this was the original location for where the infection started. But these guys, they're not smart in any fashion, these military guys. First off, it's been 28 years, everybody. All right, 28 years. These are different nationalities, different nations, different countries, whatever you want to say, now protecting um, uh, Britain, I guess, or England. Is that the same thing? I hope it is. But yeah, so these guys show up. I think they're German or French. I don't know. There's two mentions. There's one mention at one time that they are there's a French boat like circling the island and making sure that no infected get off. But then these characters were so like, this whole point was just was kind of just gratuitous to see to see a bunch of random people get killed. There was honestly no point to these mercenaries. Like, if there was a reason behind them, then yeah, tell me what the reason is. Like, when they came to that actual gate, I actually thought, when these military guys come to this gate, I'm like, wow, this is really getting meta, because it's going back to the original to see where, the monkeys got out and everything like that. Nope. These characters were just, flesh for the film. One character does survive, and I think he is a piece of crap character. I think he's probably the worst. I said a lot of characters were well written in this film. I think he is probably the worst written part of the film. I think the whole mercenary or military, whatever those people were, I just think they were completely. They just, I didn't like them at all. There was no point to those characters whatsoever. Anyways, I'm going on a rant with that. But I did like the doctor. The doctor part, I would have liked to seen more of just his story, you know. But we'll come back to him in a moment, because there is something I do want to mention later on, about the morphine and stuff that is used. So you see the beginning of the film, right? And the beginning of the film is when you see the infection starting for the first time. You see the pastor, and the pastor he accepts it. He's like, "Oh, it's a glorious day. It's Judgment Day." You know what, dude? You're gonna let a bunch of random people spit blood all over you and bite on you? I don't care what religion you are. That's not something I'm looking forward to. And I think anybody in any religion may say the same thing, although there may be a religion that I don't know. I did see something on Jack Doherty's um, live cast a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, talking about this girl that she liked to get eaten, but literally bit. And she showed like a spot on her that had a bite mark from a human on it. That was fucked up. So maybe there's something. I thought the entire opening with the Teletubbies was kind of unique, kind of gave it a throwback. Um, at first, I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson's character was the guy with the cross, the kid with the cross. But as you will find, gratuitously at the end of the film, that he is not that guy. It is somebody completely different. And yeah, we'll get to those dancing people in a few moments. And they literally are dancing. But the tone of the film, love the tone. I love the tone. The look of the film, I liked the coloring. Did not like those choppy cuts. I absolutely hate those choppy cuts. Let's see these infected biting into people. It's always dark in all three of the films. It's always dark. You hardly ever see that. There's a scene in the second one where, you know, once he kisses, the main character kisses the lips of his wife, who is infected, like half infected or whatever, and she's stuck on that gurney and she can't get off. He just goes to town. He just like, it is intense to watch that scene. To this day, as I've gotten older, it has become a scene that is something I have to fast forward through more than watch again. So the whole community thing was really cool. There was like the coming of age story. It was okay. It was okay. I was okay with that. And the fact that they had been isolated from the entire world, I like that too. Now, my biggest complaint was they did not talk about what happened to those two characters in the second film, which is, you know, did the character actually have the antivirus or a cure or whatever? No, we didn't get that. In fact, they retcon the whole opening scene in Paris with, oh yeah, they just took care of it. Okay. Well, 28 years have passed. These things are dying off. You're telling me you can't send an army over to, you know, where the infected are and just start wiping them out from, you know, how many different countries are in the world? But that's movies. You know, that's movie magic. That's just, you know, we're not practical, maybe different. But some days you even wonder if practical is different. I like the element of the water where they could not get over. However, now we get into these alphas. They're not explained enough. What the hell is these alphas? What powers do they have? Okay? And when we meet the doctor, he like morphines the one after multiple arrows and stuff have been shot into him. He morphines the one and it just stops. And you would think at that point, maybe you shoot it in the head. But no, they just walked away from it. And we're going to talk about that scene again because that scene was ridiculous. Now, I saw the writing on the wall with this because there was a scene prior to the train scene where there is an infected with like a pregnant stomach. And it is interesting to me that the infected can still carry, you know, human babies. And in fact, major spoiler, supposedly that kid is not infected. So we watch this scene with an infected giving birth to a brand new baby. And she relates with the female character by like holding hands. I'm not making this up. This is how it is. And then our Eric guy, who's part of the military thing there, that just randomly showed up in the middle of the movie, shoots her. I think she was trying to attack again, but it felt like maybe there might have been a moment there between characters that could have been shared a little longer and maybe even developed the infected just a touch more. Anyways, the alpha comes there. He gets this Eric guy gets his neck his spine and his head ripped right out, right? Gone, gone. And then we get into this doctor. Now, the doctor stuff is a little bit far fetched. And this is stuff like I said before, I don't know if I can totally support. I don't know if I totally like it. But that there is this bone shrine thing that we end up getting to. Um, and this kid leaves the sanctity of the community and goes to try to find this doctor. And this doctor was talked about in the beginning, more towards the beginning of the film, where the kid saw fire and asked his father what the fire was and if they should go to it. And the dad's like, no, we don't do that. We don't go there. But turns out the father actually did know what it was and that there was a doctor. And the kid confronts the father over it. And then he ends up leaving, taking the mother on a trip to meet this doctor who we find out has cancer and is dying. And that I thought was unique, not the cancer and the dying element, but the fact that she was able to connect with that infected character on the train. That was very interesting to me. That she was able to connect with the character, and I felt like maybe the infected knew that she had some type of terminal illness that allowed her to connect with her. And I thought we could have explored that just a touch more. So now we have this baby. We have Eric dead. The Alpha is now coming after us. And then we go out of the train and we meet the doctor, which is my favorite. And the character is my favorite, all right, is the doctor. Um, the relationship between the son and father, I really appreciated that. I like the writing behind that. Again, slow, very slow. But I like the writing behind it. And it was funny to me because in the trailer, the last one they released a couple months ago or not a couple months. At the time of recording this, it was 2 months ago from Sony. And I liked that they put a clip of the ending in the film or in the trailer, which is where the father runs out into the water. But we'll get to that because that's coming up. So you have these characters that were pointless about the military. The guy gets his head ripped off by an alpha. The doctor shows up and morphines him to pause the creature from taking any further action instead of killing it, even though it was shot several times. Balls hanging out and everything. And it was just, that part was like the film had me, even though it was slow as shit up until that point. Then we get this doctor who goes to the boneyard, go figure, right? And he tells the family, or he tells the kid and the mother that she has terminal cancer and probably has a couple days to live. So at that very single moment, the doctor thought it was good to morphine the kid and then kill the mother. Okay. I mean, that's the timeline of things. And she was okay with it. I mean, I understood it. The woman even said in the scene that she had pain and that she wanted the pain to stop. But, like cancer, if you don't get it treated by chemo and things, what happens? Your body starts to get painful. Like things start to break down, things start to hurt. And yeah, so the story arc behind that, I liked that because it worked into the characters' elements, and I really felt right then and there could have been a little more development between the characters and the infected. But we saw this one infected zombie, almost did it, infected woman, in like one other shot. That was it. And then randomly she's stuck on this train giving birth to a brand new baby. So she must be recently infected. And she did have some clothing on, although it was just a shawl. The rest, she was full naked, and you get to watch this baby come out. And, so I feel like that gave the mother character a purpose in the film. So I really feel like she was taken care of. But then we get to this boneyard. She gets killed by the doctor, and then by morning, by morning, the doctor comes to the kid and gives him her skull and says, go put it on the shrine somewhere. And at that point, this kid goes up, walks up this entire Christmas tree, and Christmas tree of bones, by the way, and um, puts his mother's head towards, the morning sun. And then he does one of the things that I think really mixed the character up for me the most, which was he kissed the skull. So again, I'm still trying to process all this to understand if I like it or not. I don't think I like it, but I like the whole general concept of the boneyard and all that stuff. So not totally a loss, but wasn't a total win there, with all that. Um, like the first films, a lot of the infected are all blacked out where you can hardly see them. Sometimes you get a good view of a face or an eye or something like that. But you know, you would think the bodies, like in this picture here, would be more reminiscent of like starvation. And they are. Don't get me wrong. I mentioned this before. There's quite a bit of them that look like they're starving to death, and which is good because we want the infected to die off. But the virus is never going to be killed off. You know what I mean? So they go to this boneyard. He kills his mother. He kisses the skull, and then he just he just leaves after the alpha comes to attack them again, um, randomly. I mean, it's like the skull was placed, and then randomly the doctor and the kid are hiding underground, and this alpha character that they kind of muted before with the morphine just ends up showing up and attacking them. And the kid grabs one of the morphine things and just stabs it into the creature's arms because they're underneath this bunker thing. And the creature just stops and let the doctor go. And the doctor goes, "I think you and the baby need to leave." Now, with that being said, I really appreciated the fact that the doctor talked about the iodine kind of throwing the scent off of the creatures, of the infected. That was kind of interesting to me. There are some infected that can't walk anymore, that are just blobs that just eat off the ground, bugs and stuff like that. Very interesting. I thought that was cool. Um, the ending of the film, I would go with, is very anticlimactic. Okay. The kid goes back to the community, by the way, that is watching every day this one walkway with like these artillery, medieval times type shit. Uh, and if anything comes up that way, they shoot it. Well, this kid was able to come all the way up to the front gate, drop off the baby, walk back, and no one from the community saw him. And then at that point, the character was going decided to go on his own way. So now the character's on his own way, cooking a fish. And this is towards the end, and this is where the dancing fools come into play. This guy with a cross, we've seen it in the beginning of the film. His father, the pastor, gave it to him, and then he hid. The kid hid. Well, this guy reemerges from, who knows? We'll probably find out in the second film or whatever. And he reemerges in these like very vibrant, like classy colors. Must be more high society type of colony that this person's a part of. Um, and they come with swinging like golf clubs, where our characters all use arrows. They were using golf clubs, and they just start swinging on these characters. And it's honestly, they start like, I called it dancing before, and I really do mean, I think it's a form of dancing. They were like killing these things, but they were dancing around in all these vibrant outfits. Excuse me. And then the kid decides that they're going to team up with them and go. And like I said in the trailer that 28 years later had at the newest one, at the time of recording this, of course, that one actually shows the father going into the water because the father then found out there was a note written with the baby explaining everything. The baby was named after the mom that passed away, and the father got angry and thought maybe his son was still there and ran out of the community. Just opened the gate while the tide was what it was, and just tried to run out there and find him. Well, he can't go very far because the tide is not right enough for him to go out into the water. So he just screams. And in the trailer, you see Aaron Taylor Johnson just screaming because he's mad that he can't get to his kid. Now, I don't think there's a little bit of an abusive relationship with the kid and the father. I don't think it's ill intended, meaning I don't think the father is really trying to. I mean, at this point, he does slap the kid, and um, that was not, he shouldn't have done that. It kind of makes him feel a little bit villainous, but it also gives him a little character because the kid was accusing him of something. The night before, Aaron Taylor Johnson's kid saw him like licking this girl's twat. So, he found out that maybe he just doesn't care about his mother and refused to go see this doctor. Anyways, there is no post-credit scenes. There's no mid-credit scenes. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I do hope that the next one, which I will see because I do love this franchise, I do hope they take some notes on everything that people may say about this film. Because is it a good sequel? Yes, to a point. That whole boneyard thing is a little bit too much for me. I get it. The boneyard is this doctor decided that he would kill these creatures, and any creatures he killed or found, he would burn the bodies and then clean the skulls. And then he started creating all these shrines, and there were shrines everywhere. And it's like, dude, you must be jacked, and he isn't jacked, by carrying all these bodies or by doing all this every day, all day. The hundreds of thousands of skulls that were there, you would think maybe something. But geez, it just a very weird story arc. With that said, I do like the Doctor, so let's make sure that everybody is on page with me. I do like the Doctor, but that is my take on 28 years later. Okay, friends. Again, I don't do reviews normally. If you want me to do another review on something, I probably can. But I don't really do these normally only because I don't like to critique other people's films. This film and franchise I felt needed me to speak on because the 28 years franchise, especially the sequel, the second one, is such a movie that inspired so much creative, creative, creative art in me. And I don't like to watch movies, especially sequels, that degrade what has come before it. And I don't think this is a degrade by any means, but I do believe that this film is a slight downgrade. And it's just really based on pacing in my respect. Now I gave the second one, I think on IMDb, I'd have to look at it, but either a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. Where the first one, although I did enjoy it, I like the second one way better. So out of all three right now, the sequel, 28 weeks, excuse me, 28, what is it? What was the second one? 28 months later, right? 28 months later is probably my favorite. But let me know what you think, because I'm curious to know if you end up seeing this film, and I hope you do. Let me know what your thoughts are behind it. And I don't know if you would recommend it or if your thoughts or feelings are kind of mutually shared in the way that I presented them. Let me know if you want me to do any more of these because I don't know. I don't have anything better to do some days. But make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if not. If you got the notification element, friends, please put that on. It helps the algorithm greatly. Until the next one, though, I appreciate you all, and take care of yourselves.